All right, then, we will be bringing you insight, deep ones, legal analysis on the major topic of tonight. My guest is one person that you love to listen to. You will love to hear his perspective. But first, before I bring him on and for you to get to meet him, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The Senate President Godswill Akpabio has apologized to Senator Natasha Akpoti over the statement he made, which has generated a lot of criticisms. Senator Akpabio last week interrupted and stopped Senator Akpoti while she wanted to speak on the floor during plenary. The Senate President told the Kogi senator to wait for a turn, and the Senate is not a club, a statement which has been described as one uttered in disrespect to the female lawmaker. The National Assembly has passed the Police Act Amendment Bill to enable persons appointed to the office of Inspector General of Police to remain in office until the end of the term stipulated in the letter of appointment. President Bola Tinubu forwarded the bill to the House of Representatives and Senate on Tuesday to amend the tenure of the IGP. The bill expeditiously scaled second and third readings and was passed by lawmakers in both the Senate and the House of Representatives at separate sittings. Meanwhile, the federal lawmaker representing Imo East Senatorial District, Senator Ezenwa Onyewuchi, has defected from the Labour Party to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Majority Leader of the Senate, Okpeyemi Bamidele, announced Senator Onyewuchi's defection during plenary today. Similarly, a member of the House of Representatives, Salman Idris, has also defected from the African Democratic Congress, ADC, to the APC. The lawmaker, who represents Kaba Bonu Ijumu Federal Constituency in the Green Chamber, officially announced his political decision in a letter read on the floor of the House by the Speaker, Abbas Tajidin. A call to repeal the laws governing State Independent Electoral Commission resonates as Yaga Africa engages stakeholders on how to enhance the integrity of local government elections. The Election Transparency Advocacy Group believes strongly that there is an urgent need to strengthen local government electoral system as against a call from some quarters to scrap the existing state independent electoral commissions. The candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the 2024 Edo governorship election, Asue Godalo, has asked the electorate not to indulge in vote selling and vote buying, as he insists that the outcome of the polls solely rests in the hands of the electorate. Mr. Godalo gave the advice during a town hall meeting in Benin City, the Edo State capital, as he warned that the enticement received from politicians in exchange of vote could lead to a 4-year of misery. Lastly, the governorship and deputy governorship candidates of the Zenith Labour Party for the September 21 governorship election in Edo State, Bishop Akaleme and Joyce Udubo, are of the belief that putting money ahead of other key decisions will do nothing to help produce leaders capable of bringing development. The duo, who spoke to electorates and party members during the flag of their campaign in Benin City, the Edo State capital, advised would-be voters to maintain the consciousness that knowledge drives the modern-day economy and vote along that line.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us right here on the program. So the planned nationwide hardship protest is getting the Nigerian government worried, especially because of a possible fallout of that planned demonstration. But the President, Bola Tinubu, has appealed to all Nigerians to shelve the planned end bad governance protest slated for next month. The Information Minister, Mohammed Idris Malagi, will brief the selected State House correspondent after a meeting with the president earlier today, says that the president is urging the protest organizers to shelve the plan and await the president's response to the complaints. Take a listen to him.
The issue of the planned protest, Mr. President does not see any need for that. He's asked them to shelve that plan. He's asked them to await government's response to all their pleas. He has listened to them, like I said, and a lot is happening. Only today, the National Assembly has expeditiously passed the new national minimum wage. You can see how the president is working. It was transmitted only yesterday. Today, it has been passed. A lot of other interventions that the president has also put in place are also going to be looked at expeditiously in the interest of Nigeria. So there's no need for strike. The young people out there should listen to the president and allow the president more time to see to the realization of all the goodies he has for them.
I love about Tigo Pesa app ni kwamba naweza kuhamisha pesa kutoka Tigo Pesa kwenda bank na sikatwi hata shilingi moja. Appliance naipenda ni television.
All right, then, there you have it. The minister, after meeting with the president seems to be worried about what could be a possible fallout. Look, the president is saying, we are going to be listening and doing what Nigerians want. But in fact, is the protest giving the government some kind of pressure? This end bad governance. That is what the protest is being tagged, a period of rage on the street by some Nigerians who are saying that they need to protest what has become a major hardship issues in the land, whether or not the government is listening. Yesterday, the Nigerian Labour Congress warned and said the president and the federal government must listen to Nigerians. Of course, a lot of things are happening too. My guest tonight will also be giving us insight into what is going on in respect of the Dangote refinery. I don't know how many of you had read what Mr. Adeshina of the African Bank has said, written. That will give you an insight into the implication between what is happening with the private entity, the NNPCL, and the federal government. A lot has happened. My guest tonight will be giving us insight into all of these issues. I'm being joined tonight on the program by a very well-respected Nigerian lawyer, right activist, senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, joins us live from Lagos. Thank you so much, Mr. Falana, for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you, Sean. You are welcome back from your leave.
Thank you so much indeed. I appreciate it. Let's get first and foremost, before I get into other issues, this planned end bad governance protest has been planned by some citizens. It does look, from what the minister said, you heard him, he's asking, speaking for the president, he's saying, look, the people of Nigeria should shelve these planned protests and actions are being taken. He also made a promise that we're going to be hearing from the president. Is that kind of narrative, that kind of rhetoric, is that what you think should be coming out right now?
For me, I think the government is lucky this time. In 2020, there wasn't a notice given by young people before embarking on the NSAS protest. I've followed the debate and the concern of the government, or the worry of the government. The government has not denied the right of Nigerians to protest for or against the government, because that is a constitutional right. But what I think the government is worried about is the possibility that violence might occur. Again, from my experience, in protests. I mean, I've taken part in protests for over 40 years in the country. Young people or workers have never gone out determined to engage in violence all the time. Violence had always occurred going back to the 70s when students are shot, unarmed students are shot. The last time, people are now destroying our history, distorting our history by saying, oh, in 2020, young people were violent. No. The young people took part in the protest, in the NSAS protest, gathered in different places. In a place like Lagos, they gathered in Alausa at the Secretariat. They also gathered at Lekki. And they were singing and discussing among themselves. People were giving them food. What happened was that the attack on the youth started in Alausa here when a notorious transporter in Lagos, a notorious union leader, sent his thugs to attack the unarmed youths in Alausa. They overpowered the thugs, but the police did not arrest or charge them. The same thing happened in Abuja, in Benin, in Port Harcourt and other places. And of course, until the government decided to unleash people you call hoodlums and thugs on the young people. When that did not work, the government sent troops, armed soldiers, to engage in killing of young people. In 1 week, about 99 people were killed in Lagos. I don't want to talk about Ogbomoso, Ibadan, Port Harcourt, Benin, and other places where young people were shot at, where young people were killed. So the violence that characterized the end of the NSAS protest was instigated and fueled and sponsored by the government. This time around, I think the government is beginning to learn from the past. I mean, last year, the Nigerian Labour Congress wanted to have a protest in solidarity with ASU during the strike. Oh, he said, no, you cannot go on strike. Hoodlums might take over. And I drew the attention of the government to the relevant provision of the Police Establishment Act of 2020, Section 83, subsection 4, that during protest, the police shall provide adequate security for the protesters. That is the law. So what should be done, or what is expected, if there's going to be a protest and there's an announcement, is to ask the protesters, where do you want to gather, so that the police can surround the place and ensure that hoodlums, so-called, or thugs, normally employed by politicians, deployed by politicians during elections, will not take advantage of genuine protests in the country. And I think that is what the government should do now. So identify the organizers and collaborate with them to ensure that violence will not occur.
So let me get you to reason with some of the issues that have been raised. And those who will say one of the strengths of the NSAS protests, on one hand, was that there were no leaders. There were no persons who are in the front. There were just people who, according to the organizers, organically were leading the protests, who identify as possible on-the-spot leaders. There were no organized leaders, although there are some people who are doing the strategy in the corner. And there are those who will say, in fact, that was the major problem of the NSAS protest, because it didn't have an organized leadership. And then when things went south, there was nobody to be able to hold accountable, and there were no leadership to be able to put it together. And these are some of the issues that have been raised, that if you allow the kind of violence, for example, that we saw in the 2020 NSAS protest and the aftermath of what we saw in Kenya, yes, the people of that country spoke loudly, but it has left businesses in Kenya burnt, destroyed, and brought down. How can we avoid this sort of situation, Mr. Falana?
Yeah, number one, what they call it, young people call it leaderless revolution. And I mean, we know those who, the government officials of the government know that their children participated in the protests of 2020. I know my own children participated in the protests of 2020. And when you ask the young people, why don't you have leaders that the government can talk to? Say, no, this is a sudden protest. We are compelled to have this protest. Once they know our leaders, the government can easily call them and bribe them or intimidate them and stop the protest. So, but they had a way of contacting themselves. And I think that is the lesson the government can draw some lesson from that experience. How do you identify those who are using statements, those who are planning the protest, and then engage with them productively? But threats will not work. In fact, on some occasions, the desperation of government also has a way of popularizing such protest. And when you are also getting some leaders of some phony organizations coming out, oh, we are dissociating ourselves from the... You didn't plan the protest with them. That will not work for the government. Or some last year, the Johannes came out to say, no, the Igbo people should not join the protest. Led by an Igbo man anyway, Joe Ajero. Oh, the Yoruba people came out, a faction of, oh, please, no Yoruba son should come out and join the protest. That will not work. Nobody listened to such, warnings. So this time around, the government should try to identify the leaders of the movement and then engage, have some dialogue with them. And then the questions being raised, there are demands that are being made. The government should address this demand. And between now and the 1st of August, it's still a long way. And it's happily, I understand the government is going to address the nation. And it is also important for governors to really come out and let the people know what they are doing to address hardship in the country, which nobody is denying. Suffering in the country, which nobody is denying. And then you still have governors say, oh, we're not going to be able to pay a minimum wage of 70,000 naira. That is not the kind of language that you expect leaders, the type of statement that leaders should make at this point in time.
So, Mr. Falano,
I think a lot depends on the government.
Let me ask, is it fair, though, to want to stage a revolution protest against a government that has spent just about a year in office?
Sheung, when you talk of revolution, right? You don't go to the market to announce a revolution. There are objective factors